What's up? It's Juice Beats, back again with another race video. And we're back here in Nashville for the Music City Crit Series race number 6. This is the 3-4 race, so it's a 40-minute race. And this is my first race as a Cat 3. I got some quick stats for you. 24.4 miles per hour average for the race, 339 average power with a 349 normalized, and 1505 max power wattage in this race. And guys, while those numbers look pretty good, I don't want to lie to you, I just didn't have it this day.
You suck, you jackass.
This is my first race coming back after basically 2 weeks off from racing. And, you know, I felt like I was prepared for it, but at the same time, you know, I haven't been racing in a couple weeks. I've been recovering my body a bit from the crashes. If you haven't seen my other videos, they are on my channel, and so at the same track and everything. But yeah, recovering from those crashes, I've still got some swelling on my hip and some fluid things that are going on. But I was, you know, ready to come back and get back into racing. And here I am at the beginning of this race, leading out the pack for whatever reason. We have a Nashville local cycling guy off the front at the beginning here, and obviously it's way too early for him to get away, so not trying to go after that. But there was no reason for me to be leading the charge at the beginning, so after the first lap, kind of let off just a little bit here, and I believe that's Eli in front of me there. Yep, from Hattie B's. And so I'm slowly learning everybody's names that I'm racing with, being able to see them every few weeks or so. But yeah, I don't want to be out front, and here I am. He kind of gets a little bit of a lead here, and I'm still kind of leading the pack behind me right here. And yeah, not something I want to do, especially at my size. You know, letting people draft off me. You know, I get it a lot. You know, people say that I'm a really good draft. So they like to get behind me and save their legs for the race. But here I am trying to move over, don't want to be up front. And then we get a little call out right here. I believe that's Nick, and he's a pretty strong rider. He says we don't need to let Nashville local cycling get away in this one, or let them use their tactics. And he's right. You know, they are the big team there in Nashville, and we don't need to let them get out there in front and take charge of this race. You know, others in this race, I don't know if, besides Hattie B's and Nashville local cycling, I don't know if there's any other teams or anything like that in this race. But, you know, them being the big team, we can't let them dictate how the race is going to go. So not too much has happened so far in these first couple laps. And we still have the Nashville local cycling guy off the front, and we haven't quite caught up to him yet. So he is out there doing his best to keep everybody back, but we are slowly closing in on him. And you know, I've said in the past in my other videos, this 180-degree turn wasn't that big of a factor. I felt like it was kind of an equalizer for the race, but for some reason on this day, that 180-degree turn was the worst. It was tough, and it could have been that there was a tailwind coming out of it, and that's what the big push was, because I felt like I was taking the turn pretty well going around it, but as soon as I would come around it, it felt like I would have to push out so many watts just to catch back up. And it was tough. It was taxing on my body for this race, and you know, taxing on the heart. You could see normally my heart rate isn't as high this early in the race, but we are over 170 beats per minute already. I think my max is like 182 or something like that. So we're getting up there at some points during this race. And, you know, I think that was the factor, coming out of that 180-degree turn and just having to punch it really hard. And yeah, having the tailwind coming out of it, I think really helped some riders gain a lot of momentum and a lot of speed coming out of it as well. And here we go, coming out the turn right here. So I feel like I'm taking pretty good turns here. I'm staying pretty close to it coming out, but look how many watts I'm putting out. I'm putting out over 1,000 watts coming out of it, and people are leaving me going, you know, we're 30 miles an hour and they are pushing away from me at this point. So don't know what's going on. These guys are on some juice or something up there at the front. But yeah, I mean, I was out there pushing a lot of watts just to keep up. And already right here, we're looking at a possible split. So coming down this back stretch, I'm just trying to get back on a wheel here. We've got two Nashville local cycling guys right in front and of me right here. And you know, you've got the guys pushing on the front there. We're still intact pretty much at this point. Just looking at the back camera and the front camera here, looks like we're all intact pretty well. But for some reason, I'm just I'm not getting a good a latch on the wheels here. There is I guess a fairly strong headwind on that back stretch, so that could be part of it. You know, I was trying to get low as possible, trying to you know, defeat the wind basically in that aspect, but I just wasn't getting the I guess the speed that I needed and the arrowness that I needed to cut through that wind on the back stretch. You know, I'm taking what I feel like is pretty good lines around these turns, and then, you know, having to punch it so much coming out, you know, over 1,000 watts pretty much, or what looks like almost every time. And then, yeah, on this backstretch, I mean, I'm pushing 30 miles an hour, over 700, 800 watts, and, you know, guys are pulling away a little bit. I definitely need to get up to the front here, but this is a crucial part in the race right here, and I really believe that the Nashville local cycling guys really controlled this split really well here. I think at the moment, you know, you've got two right here out in front, and they are kind of blocking. I think they have a man up there in the break, or this little split that's happened, and they're doing a good job of kind of controlling the pace right here. And this was something that, you know, at the beginning of the race, we didn't want to happen. We didn't want Nashville local cycling to dictate how the race was going to go, and that's kind of what happened. You know, they've got, I want to say 3 or 4 guys, maybe 5 in this race. You know, I didn't quite count it, but they have a significant amount of guys in the race to be able to kind of dictate what happens here. And so, you know, going around this turn, you've got to slow down a little bit to go around it, but you've already got this big split that's happened. And you can see, I mean, I'm pushing out, here we go, over 1,000 watts again, trying to get back up to it. And I get behind Eli, but he's kind of run out of gas right here, and yeah, there's the big split right there. Here I go. I'm trying to TT this, but here I'm going to run into the headwind here in a minute, and yeah, it's going to slow me down a bunch. I'm still trying to put out a lot of watts, but I'm at the same time fighting the wind and losing energy at the same time. And I'm trying to push as hard as I can. We got a bridge up to this thing. The guys behind me are not quite following as close as they probably should, and we need to work together to get back to the split here, or the breakaway. But it's not coming together, and I can see them kind of riding away at this point, and I'm still trying to push. And they are just pulling away. I'm losing energy here. You know, I've been pushing out a lot of watts just to try to bridge up. But yeah, I can only do so much. I'm not inhuman, and I don't have the ability to sustain a huge amount of watts for long periods of time yet. Not quite there. But coming out of this turn here, you know, you can already see they've got a 3 or 4 second lead already, and they are pushing hard and pulling away. And I'm thinking here, you know, I see this Nashville Local Cycling guy. He's pulling, you know, some big watts going around here and pushing to the front. But honestly, I think he is trying to get to the front to block a bit. He knows he's got a man out there in the break. And I think just looking at it right here, the speed and everything, I think he's blocking a bit up front and kind of controlling the pace so that they can get away even further. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. You can see they've already extended their lead probably 5-6 seconds now, and they're already into the turn there. And we are, I mean, it looks like we're doing okay, but we're just not making any headway on the breakaway here. Eli's taking off. You know, he's trying to catch up as well. We're all trying to push hard to catch up. Right now, you know, I'm kind of spent a little bit. I spent a lot of energy trying to catch up to them earlier. And so I am trying to rest a little bit behind these wheels, just so I can maybe make another punch coming out of this 180-degree turn. With that tailwind behind me, maybe being able to catch up a little bit, but seeing how far they are ahead at this point, it's really tough. But here I go. I'm gonna kick it in here in just a second and maybe try another one. Let's see if I can get this tailwind behind me a little bit. Push up another 1,000 watts, and I'm just not making any headway. And I feel like, you know, I'm doing all these attacks, or I guess these pushes to try to bridge up, but it's really just not working at all. The break was really working together really well. They were really strong on this day. I think they ended up averaging, you know, 25 and a half, 26 miles an hour or something like that. And we just, you know, this back group, this chase group, we just didn't have it. And I don't know if that, I mean, it could have been Nashville Local Cycling, you know, controlling that pace a little bit. That could have been part of it, but also, you know, some of the other guys that were with me in the chase group, just we weren't working together very well, and we weren't trying to you know, push it to catch up to the breakaway there. Skipped ahead a bit, and I'm coming up. I think these are lapped riders that were coming around, or I'm coming around, because I am by myself at this point. I am pushing hard by myself. You can see I'm over 400 watts at points, and just really just trying to not really get away from everybody, but, you know, maybe holding out hope that I could bridge, but it's very, very doubtful at this point. And I'm really, I was kind of tired of playing around with the chase group. I really felt like the Nashville local cycling team was was blocking or holding us back. And you can see right there, they're already around the 180-degree turn there. So they have at least a 30-second lead at this point, if not more. So I am just trying to push, and you can see I'm losing steam. I've expended a bunch of energy just going off on my own here, and you can see that the group's kind of coming back behind me. I think I look back and see them closing in, and so I am kind of slowing down a bit here, and I'm just gonna let them kind of come back, swallow me up a little bit, and then ride with them a little bit more. I feel like we had a chance earlier in the race to kind of catch up to them if we'd worked together a little bit better, but you know, race tactics. So here I am chilling. We're closing. I think we're over halfway through this race at this point. So now it's really just, okay, I gotta close this thing out, and you know, get whatever place I end up with at this point in the race. All right, I fast forward even more. We're coming down to the final few laps, and here we go. The field has finally overtaken us and lapped us. And yeah, it was tough. You know, we didn't work together early on. We didn't catch up to them, and they got away and they took off. And here I am. I'm just jumping on the back for a little bit here, just trying to keep the speed up. And I've spent a lot of energy, you know, just pushing myself and pushing the so-called chase group at this point. And so I'm already pretty tired. And I know that this group has been pushing pretty hard, but you know, they've been together for most of the race, so they've probably all you know, shared some of the load, I guess, out front for a while. So I just don't have the energy to keep up with them at this point anymore. I have expended a lot of watts just trying to keep the other group up, and so they are gonna start pulling away here, going into, I think my lap counter's off again, but I think this is going into lap 18 or lap 19. I can't remember how the lap counter gets off here. For some reason, it does some weird stuff and starts the lap over around here or something like that. But yeah, I think this is lap 19 actually, so only a few more laps to go. So they did pass us up with only a couple laps to go, but yeah, there they go, taking it off. I mean, the race for me obviously is over, and you know, that group is going to be the group to you know, have all the placings and everything up on the podium. But I'm still gonna try to finish out strong. I'm still gonna keep pushing myself. You know, never give up attitude out here. But I know that the race is, you know, over for me as far as like getting on the podium or anything like that. So not the best race. Didn't quite have the legs, I guess, to keep up today. That 180-degree turn definitely got me, and I think some of the race tactics by Nashville Local Cycling held us back a bit. So they did their job. They had a guy up there in the break, and they were able to keep everybody at bay, or at least half of the peloton or so. All right, popping forward a little bit, about 1,600 meters left, and I believe we're going into the last lap after this last cross of the start-finish line. And I am with two Nashville Local Cycling guys at this point, and I'm just trying to conserve energy for this last lap. So I'm chilling behind them. I'm gonna let them just kind of ride me out until the end. Some of the other guys that were with us in that chase group, or the back half of the peloton, have already dropped out of the race, so they decided not to, I guess, finish out. But I'm gonna finish out just because that's my nature. I want to finish out things, and so yeah, I'm riding this one out for this last lap. And they're, I believe, yeah, that's the rest of the peloton there. So I mean, they've already lapped us, but they're not that far ahead of us at this point. So here we go. This is I believe our last lap. Yep, there's that bell. And yeah, I mean, you can see the speed's not quite where it had been early on in the race. We're just kind of chilling at this point. But yeah, I'm conserving my energy for this last lap. And really, I'm just, at this point, yeah, I know it's over, and you know, there's no reason to do anything, but I'm also thinking in my head, you know, maybe this is a good time to practice like my attack, or practice sustaining something, you know, just anything, because there's, you know, it's not like, you know, the rest of the competition, I guess, or the rest of the pelotons with us. So it's just 2 Nashville local cycling guys. And I figured, you know, why not try this out? Here I go. I'm just going to attack from the back here, push out some big watts there, and see if I can get a little bit of a lead on this last little bit. So really right here, I'm just kind of practicing an attack point, and seeing what I can do. No other reason, just kind of playing around at this point. But I'm just gonna finish out strong at this last little bit. So I'm holding some pretty good watts around here. All right, going in this last turn. I think I look back and I see that he's not really closing in on me, and I didn't expect him to, you know, punch out and try to get with me at this last little bit. I mean, this is the last lap and we're already out of it. So yeah, that was just me playing around and just seeing what I could do on that last little bit and finishing out strong. But yeah, I didn't quite have it for this race, and I still ended up finishing 6th in the Cat 3s, which I was surprised, you know, as it's mid-pack of the 3s. So not too bad, but yeah, just not the greatest race, and I wish I had made that break. I felt like, just looking at you know, my wattage and all that stuff towards the end of this race, that maybe if I had made that break, I could have done something else in this race. But yeah, I didn't quite have it to get back up to it and bridge that gap that opened up in the first few laps. So looking back here, this is the crucial moment in the race. We are only just about 3.5 miles almost into the race, and, you know, a little over 20,000 meters, but that split has formed at this point. And instead of just punching it and going around these guys right here that are potentially blocking for their man that is up in the breakaway, I slot back in, and that was the big mistake that I made in this race. I should have punched it out of there, gone over 1,000 watts, and just made my way up there to the front group, and I could have stuck with them for the rest of the race, most likely. But instead, you know, I slotted back in, and that was the big mistake. I stayed back, I got blocked, and, you know, that's what happened. So we ended up getting lapped later on. They kept pushing and kept building on their lead, and yeah, that's racing right there. But yeah, the guys who won out there did great. They were strong on this day, and you know, all kudos to them. And yeah, I actually jumped into the P123 race just after this, just to test myself out and see how long I would last with them. So I will be posting that video up shortly, within the next couple days or so. So guys, stay tuned for that. But if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you know when I post videos. And yeah, if you want to donate, my Cash App is linked in the description there, and that is just going to race fees and equipment and all that stuff, upkeep. I'm not obviously pushing for that, but you know, if you guys want to donate, I really appreciate it. We already had a couple donors from the last video, and big shout out to them. Thank you so much. Definitely helps out the channel as well. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.